Welcome. Before we give you our take on saboteurs, we want you to go and take the saboteurs assessment or questionnaire. So if you've not completed the questionnaire, take a look at the link that you see on the screen and go to Positive Intelligence. It'll only take you a couple of minutes and it's free, and it's just a snapshot of where you are today with your tendencies. Welcome back. And the goal is to recognize that we as humans are all perfectly imperfect. And as such, we all have limiting beliefs that can get in our way of truly being our very best version of ourselves. So consider the saboteurs and how they are a fantastic approach to understanding what might be getting in our way. And with that, there's research. And the research comes from positive intelligence based out of Stanford University by the great work of Siraj Sharmin. And what they found is that we as human beings all have a judge, and that judge can be intense or less intense. And with that intensity, it could just tend to say with three destinations on where it's going to point the mighty finger. And the first is it's going to point the mighty finger at me and say, "What is wrong with me? I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that." And just be super intense and inviting others into the conversation. The next judge is going to point the finger at you and say, "What is wrong with you? I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you said that." And with different levels of intensity. And then finally, my favorite is, "What's wrong with this circumstance or this outcome? I just can't see straight. It's just so bad out there." And then it's going to bring in the gang of nine. And note that we want you to find what rings true for you and what the voices are saying in your head. It's all about the hyper or extreme mode. So in some cases, when it's not hyper or extreme or negative or anxiety ridden, then it might not be a saboteur. But if it is a negative emotion, it probably is a saboteur. So as we go through the gang of nine, note what sounds familiar. What do your saboteurs say? What effect does it have on you? And what effect did the saboteurs have on others? So let's take a look. My favorite, hyperachiever. Hyperachiever is all about constant performance in order to get self-respect and validation. The latest achievement is quickly discounted, and I need more. I need more to do. There's stress, there's anxiety, there's pressure to perform. In fact, life really is about achieving and producing results, right? The next is hyper rational. When I'm in my research mode, do not invade my space with your messy emotions because it is wasteful and it is intrusive, and I just need to get my work done. So basically, hyper rational can be perceived as uncaring or unfeeling or intellectually arrogant because it's very focused on the rational mind. Controller. The controller is an anxiety-ridden, uh, just need to take charge and to control situations, people's actions. And it's going to be very impatient when it's not possible to do that because the controller believes that if I don't push people, it's not going to get done. So it says, I'm really the one trying to get everything done for all of our sakes. The pleaser, another one of my favorites. My pleaser is kind of indirectly trying to gain acceptance and affection by helping, by pleasing, by rescuing or flattering others. And basically, I tend to lose sight of my own needs, and I might become resentful as a result. The voice in my head says to be a good person, I need to put the needs of others ahead of my own, no matter what it costs me. Ooh. Stickler, another one of my favorites. Again, this is in the extreme hyper mode. It's all about perfectionism and the need for order and organization taken too far, being very anxious about making things extremely perfect. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And if you can't do it perfectly, do not do it at all. There's really a black cloud over my head. I don't know why you can't see it, but terrible things always happen to me, and no one understands me. I don't know why. So, in a nutshell, victim is going to focus on internal feelings, probably very painful ones, and is a bit of a martyr. And again, these are tendencies. These are not who you are. Another one of my favorites, hypervigilance. Vigilance can never rest. And if I make a mistake, everyone is going to jump down my throat. It's anxiety going all through about all the dangers that could go wrong. Avoider. Maybe if I just go take a walk, everything's going to be fine. It's going to take care of itself. I really just this unpleasantness and just this conflict, I'm just going to avoid it at all costs. So again, it's all about the extreme and what we're doing, what our tendencies are. My best friend is all about restless, constantly in search of the greater, the next activity, constantly busy, rarely at peace or content with the current activity. Whatever I'm doing just isn't fulfilling, and the next thing has got to be more exciting. If this sounds familiar, thumbs up and recognize that you are a human being. And what we can do is just be aware of these tendencies and breathe and move into mindfulness. What is going to go between these tendencies and my future self, my best self? What is tripping me up? Because I want to move from the dark sides, the blind spots, and the saboteurs, and move over to the bright sides and focus on my strengths, my superpowers, my values, and my sage. So, speaking of sage, we're not going to talk about it much here, but I did want you to know that with saboteurs comes the sage. Saboteurs is all about surviving. So, I'm in survival mode. Sage is all about thriving. And the difference is the emotions. So, when you can recognize the emotions of anger, regret, shame, anxiety, disappointment, blame, you're probably in the saboteur mode. If you can recognize the emotions of thriving, of being curious, having empathy and joy, creativity, peace, calm, resolve, and gratitude, you're probably in the thriving or sage mode, that positive intelligence brain. So we will talk about all of this when we see you next, and feel free to watch the video again if it's helpful. Otherwise, we will see you soon. Take care.